Hi, welcome to the Victoria Reports. This episode is going to talk about the enemy. Now, recently, a bunch of China scholars and political experts have written a joint open letter begging the US government and Congress not to treat China as the enemy. This episode is a response to that. But before we go any further, the first thing we have to ask ourselves is, what do we mean by China? Of course, you're talking about cultural China, thousands of years of history, the Chinese food, Chinese music, Chinese literature. This is something that is a priceless treasure of humanity. Nobody in the right mind would treat that as an enemy. By the same token, we love Russian culture. We love Russian music, Russian architecture, Russian literature, all the way from Chekhov, Tchaikovsky, Tolstoy to Solzhenitsyn. I mean, you name it, right? I love Russian food, actually. But what do you think of the Soviet Union? Was it at one point in time regarded as an enemy of mankind? How about Stalinist empire? How many people did they kill? Do we have to debate this still? There were, throughout most of the 20th century, 3 major totalitarian regimes. The other 2 were well known, notorious, but actually quite short-lived. I'm talking about Nazi Germany and fascist Italy. One was destroyed during the war, the other, with its destruction, we ended the war in Europe. Stalin killed more people, put more people in misery than the other 2 combined. The Cold War was a necessity. The Cold War was a war of black and white. Thanks to the victory of the Cold War, we set a lot of people free. Remember the speech that JFK made in 1963 in West Berlin? How could people shoot their own people who were fleeing the country for freedom, who were innocent, ordinary citizens? Did that make it clear? There was, at one point in time, a block of regimes who did so much damage to humanity, who were such a threat to the security of the world. So we have to look at the true nature of the Chinese regime, the government of the People's Republic of China. There has been an uninterrupted, continuous one-party dictatorship. We all know how many people they killed during the man-made famine. All these numerous political campaigns and destruction of Chinese culture during the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution. And now we have the second largest GDP of a brutal totalitarian state of that same party, with a president in life who rules like an emperor, seeking for world dominance, brutally suppressing millions of people in Tibet and Xinjiang. China, the cultural China, has never been, will never be, an enemy of mankind. But the regime that tortured the Chinese people and destroyed and destroying Chinese culture is an existential risk of humanity. And another lesson that we have learned from the Cold War is that we don't always have to engage in kinetic warfare. For most of the time, actually for the whole time, the Western world have full diplomatic relationships with all the Eastern Bloc countries. But we never treated these people, these leaders of this state, as partners, as allies, as people we can work together. There's no difference this time as regard to history decades ago. We have to, as I said many times, call a spade a spade. We have to look at the true nature of the CCP. The task is enormous and difficult. But the regime is not only an enemy of the United States, is an existential risk that humanity faces. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.